After a string of recent attacks on Asian seniors in San Francisco, community members voiced their feelings with the city leaders at a long-awaited town hall. NTD's Jason Blair reports.
In a San Francisco town hall meeting, leaders and community members discussed an uptick in violence against Asian elders with local authorities.
There's been a rise in anti-Asian hate crimes since the pandemic started and has not died down at all. And over the last week and a half in San Francisco, there's been 3 additional attacks on elderly Asian people.
ABC 7 reported one of those attacks. 70-year-old Mrs. Ren was violently robbed and injured multiple times by a teenager and 3 juveniles just over 2 weeks ago.
3 of the 4 individuals were under the age of 18, as young as 11 years old. And that is sad.
The DA's office announced that 3 of the 4 suspects have been arrested and the 18-year-old has been charged with a felony. They are still working on locating a 14-year-old. One attendee commented on values and morals in today's generation of youth.
It's crazy. Media is raising our children nowadays. You know, I see it with just parents giving their phone to their kid in a grocery store to have them watch YouTube. You know what I mean?
These attacks have sparked outcry from the local community demanding action from authorities. The town hall meeting was held on Tuesday and the house was packed at Victory Hall in Chinatown.
What we've seen over the last 2 years, and some of this started in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, is really, particularly in 2020 and 2021, was an increase in attacks against the Asian community.
The district attorney, members of the San Francisco Police Department, and Asian American community leaders were among the attendees. According to the U.S. Census in 2021, Asian Americans make up about 37% of San Francisco's population. One of the co-organizers of the event requested the chief to hire more police leaders from the Chinese community, which would help with following up on incidents with non-English speakers.
We've had enough of this. We need leaders who really care about Asian Americans, Chinese Americans who live here, and who more than someone who is from that community and who cares about protecting our people as a police officer, as a police leader. And so I think there are a lot of qualified people out there if we really look.
The district attorney answered questions from the public and says her team is working hard to solve the cases.
I think it's a sad state when we get to the point that our children are victimizing and assaulting who should be the most respected members of our society.
But not everyone thinks that the newly appointed DA is doing enough.
Send the message to these thugs. You come into San Francisco, we're going to throw the book at you, you're going to go to prison, and you're going to pay restitution. And as long as they get the book thrown at them, the message will be sent to the rest of their friends that we're not going to come to San Francisco to do these crimes because all these perpetrators are coming from outside of San Francisco.
A San Francisco supervisor in attendance talked about providing more funding to the police force. He also said that crime prevention starts with giving media exposure to arrests as much as the attack itself.
Because that ultimately is what's going to send a message to would-be attackers that it shouldn't be something you even think about in San Francisco. If you commit a hate crime or a hate incident in San Francisco, you're going to be caught, you're going to be prosecuted, and held accountable. That's why we have to send that message and be really vigilant about communicating that we're not going to tolerate this kind of violence here.
One attendee says she's been fighting actively since November 2021 to find the killers of Jasper Wu, a baby victim struck by a stray bullet while riding in his mom's car on the freeway.
Who was killed on November 6th, and his killing has been classified as a car accident according to the California Highway Patrol. And I just think that's devastating because the violence just absolutely needs to end.
The co-organizers said they were happy about the large turnout and community involvement, but they didn't feel anything concrete from the city's leadership and think there's still progress to be made. They may talk to the mayor and continue the momentum and next steps. Jason Blair, NTD News, San Francisco.
Following the U.S. Supreme Court decision to strike down a New York gun law on concealed carry, California lawmakers have introduced a new bill on gun control. If passed, the law will change the process for concealed carry licenses.
Senator Anthony Portantino's Senate Bill 918 seemed to be stalled in legislation until it saw a large amount of reforms last week. With nearly 200 amendments made to the bill, it will add many requirements for people to obtain a concealed carry weapon or CCW permit. In a press release, Portantino said, SB 918 will implement significant improvements to California's existing concealed carry weapon, CCW laws, to address the recent United States Supreme Court decision in New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. The bill passed through the Assembly Appropriations Committee with 185 new amendments added. Some of the changes include doubled costs in training, mandated classes that cover mental health, including a written exam, psychiatric evaluations, and face-to-face interviews with law enforcement, including 3 recommendations from character references. The bill would also prohibit a CCW holder to carry in sensitive areas, such as places where alcohol is served, public transport, hospitals, schools, parks, and more. The bill is being met with criticism as some claim that California is enacting questionable legislation based on political viewpoints. Rick Travis, legislative director of the California Rifle and Pistol Association, told the California Globe, quote, Senate Bill 918 seeks to remove the right to protect oneself and family by preventing law-abiding citizens, regardless of their background, from being able to carry a firearm outside the home. Bill Thomas, NTD News, California.
A California teacher who is a pro-Antifa and bragged about indoctrinating his students as the revolutionaries has been given 3 years of payment by a school district to resign.
Gabriel Gipe, a California high school teacher who allegedly radicalized his students with far-left ideology, agreed to leave his position with 3 years of pay, according to a Sacramento Bee report. Officials agreed to pay Gipe about $100,000 after taxes to not fight his firing. Natomas Unified School District Superintendent Chris Evans said the payout comes from the difficulty of firing teachers in California. Gipe worked as an advanced placement government teacher at Intercom High School in Sacramento County. He drew outrage from the school district community last year after he was featured in an undercover video from Project Veritas. In the video footage, Gipe says he gave students extra credit to attend left-wing events, including counter-protests to, quote, right-wing rallies. He said he displayed on his classroom wall an Antifa flag, which he claimed was, quote, meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable. Video footage also shows a poster of former Chinese Communist Party leader Mao Zedong on a wall in the teacher's classroom. The report of the investigation revealed more details about Gipe's conduct, including replacing typical AP government curriculum with lectures about communism. The school district report reads, quote, you used your position of authority with a captive audience of impressionable teenagers to promote your own political ideology, including advocating or teaching communism with the intent to indoctrinate or inculcate in the mind of any pupil a preference for communism. The school is now focusing on welcoming students back to the start of a new school year. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California.
While most Navy sailors do their work on water, one crew spent part of the day cleaning up land in Silicon Valley. The Navy sailors told NTD's David Lamb why they're in town for a week.
Over a dozen Navy sailors helped tidy up the Almaden Library Community Center on Tuesday.
It feels great. You know, even though I got sailors to take care of back home, I'm still having an impact here where it counts the most, and that's back home, coming back to my roots and just giving back.
This is the first time that Navy Week is visiting San Jose.
Navy Week is a program that started back in 2005 as a way to bring sailors to communities that don't have a traditional exposure to their sailors.
It took 6 months to prepare for and includes community outreach and even getting involved with young and senior citizens.
So we set up about 12 to 15 of these a year in cities all around the country, and we bring 40 to 50 sailors out to do community service projects, youth engagements. We'll typically bring at least one band ensemble to perform public concerts.
And to top it off, 2022 also commemorates the Navy's 100th anniversary of its aircraft carriers.
I've done 3 Western Pacific deployments, so I've been to Guam, South Korea, Philippines, Vietnam, Singapore, and then I've done 1 around the Horn of South America, so I went to Brazil, Chile, and Peru.
Anything chemical, biological, nuclear, conventional, and unconventional, we are the folks in the Navy who go and handle those things. So we go and augment the SEAL teams, the Special Forces.
On this mission, They're specializing in cleaning up less hazardous materials through good old yard work, garden cleaning, and furniture removal. A recreation supervisor says they've been a great help in the city's efforts to restore the public center.
With their support, we're able to, do a big cleanup, bring our community center back to its beautiful glory. Here in the city of San Jose, we were really hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, and so we're slowly bringing back more and more services here.
Each year, the program reaches more than 140 million people, about half the U.S. population.
Hey, all I got to say is, hey, keep on doing good things, and the Navy's here to stay. Hoo-yah.
You're going to see sailors throughout the community, about 40 to 50 of us, all throughout the week here in San Jose. If you don't have a chance to come and join us, please come out to the Italian Family Festa on Saturday.
The lieutenant commander told me that the San Jose Navy Week will last until August 21st, and there will be other various outreach programs, such as more heavy lifting and a Navy band playing traditional Navy music. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
During the height of COVID, as lockdowns were put in place, people looked to the outdoors to get away. And that's what made the Botanical Garden in Los Angeles a hot tourist attraction. NTD's Jackie Rios went to smell the flower.
Today we're visiting the Los Angeles County Arboretum and Botanic Garden, where locals come to forget the hustle and bustle of city life. The Botanic Garden, nestled away in the city of Arcadia, is home to a worldwide collection of trees, bushes, and flowers. Botanist Frank McDonough talked about why things are better than ever right now.
We were open during COVID because our walkways were wide enough to give people plenty of distance between them. We were really lucky to stay open because people really needed a place like this where they could be out in nature. COVID brought more people. It brought people here who now appreciate the Arboretum. People fell in love with us. We're doing the best we've ever done.
The garden is especially a popular site for bird watchers.
Well, the Arboretum attracts birds. For thousands of years, this area has had a natural water feature that's had water in it throughout the year. This has attracted migratory birds, and as a result, over 250 species of birds, wild, migratory, and non-migratory birds, have been observed here at the Arboretum. We've been named as one of the best places in the United States by the Audubon Society to do bird watching.
There are also rare non-native species.
We also have sightings, although this is not a native bird, of mandarin ducks here. Very beautiful ducks. Well, fine, we have peacocks. And it's close to 200, anywhere from 200 to 400 peacocks here at any one given time. The peacocks were brought over by Lucky Baldwin back in the 1870s. He brought 2 or 3 mating pairs.
Lucky Baldwin, one of the former owners of the land that the Arboretum is on, imported the peacocks from India.
Back in 1947-48, the Southern California Horticultural Society decided they needed another arboretum because the one that was near Dodger Stadium was full of trees. There was no room for any more. They found this spot in Arcadia that was owned by the Chandlers and had previously been owned by the Baldwin family, including Lucky Baldwin, who was a hotelier who had horse racing and everything here. So they decided this was the best spot for the new arboretum.
The Arboretum has a lot to offer, from its natural landscapes, waterfall, to its different historic buildings. It also hosts classes, events, concerts, and even wedding ceremonies throughout the year. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Los Angeles.